Today's recipe is for all of you who love to share a dip or a spread with your appetizers when you have family and friends over for a party or just to hang out. It's also a throwback recipe to the days when things were much simpler. It's a recipe that I'm recreating that my mom used to make all the time. It was a favorite in our family. So let's see if we can take that throwback recipe into the next century. We're starting this recipe with about a cup of tiny frozen shrimp that I've thawed, drained, and blotted dry. And I'm going to chop those shrimp finely. Now, this recipe was much simpler back in the day when my mom used to make it, because she was able to buy in the grocery store some little glass jars that had shrimp cocktail in them. It included the little tiny shrimp and cocktail sauce. Now, as far as I can tell, those shrimp cocktail are no longer available anywhere. Let me know if you can find them in your neck of the woods. But it's easy to recreate the recipe with some chopped fresh shrimp, a brick of cream cheese, and some cocktail sauce that will kick up. To start your cocktail sauce, you want to start with either your favorite ketchup or chili sauce or a combination of ketchup and chili sauce. And be sure you taste it first, so that you have a sense of what your flavors are that are in the profile of the base sauce that you're using. So I have about a half a cup, and I'm going to add to that a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. We're going to start with a 1/4 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And here's a tip for you. When I'm making a sauce or some even baking, I like to have 2 sets of measuring spoons, one for the wet ingredients and one for the dry ingredients, so it doesn't make me crazy. So we're starting with a 1/4 teaspoon of Worcestershire. We're also going to use a little bit of hot sauce. I'm using sriracha. Use whatever is your favorite. You're making this your cocktail sauce. So I'm also starting with a 1/4 teaspoon of the hot sauce. Next, I'm going to switch to the dry ingredients. And I'm going to have perhaps like 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and the same for onion powder. Next, I'm going to add a full teaspoon of lemon juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice. Now let's stir that together and have a little taste. I've already enhanced the flavor of the base. Next, we're ready to add some big flavor with some prepared horseradish. So I'm going to put in a generous amount. I'd say it's about a tablespoon and a half to start. Mix that. Now I'm going to take a little piece of the shrimp and stick it in there and have a taste. That's where we get the big flavor. My cocktail sauce looks perfect and tastes perfect. We're ready to move on and make the dip. Take 1 package of cream cheese that you've softened. It's at room temperature, and I've worked it to make sure that it's nice and creamy. And I'm going to easily be able to mix the ingredients together. So I'm going to add a bit of the cocktail sauce and begin to work it. And we want to just mix it until it's well combined. Now, you could use a mixer for this, particularly if you're making a larger amount. You're going to double or triple the amount of your dip. But with just a little bit of elbow grease, we can make this come together. Once you've combined the cocktail sauce with the cream cheese, stop and have a taste. I can taste the flavors. You may want to add a little bit more, and I do. I'm adding all of the cocktail sauce. You may want less. That's why it's important to taste along the way. Then you'll have a lovely pink base for your dip. And finally, add all of the shrimp and fold the shrimp in. After chilling your dip, to serve it, transfer the dip to a pretty bowl. And top it with a few reserved shrimp. So your guests will know exactly what kind of dip they're going to be dipping into. And of course, if you're really doing a throwback to this delicious throwback shrimp dip, you're going to serve it with some Ritz crackers and some Lay's potato chips with ridges. Enjoy.